right. As far as the injuries go, Charles Minihue will be out with a torn ACL, and then Tooney will not practice today. So making progress, not counted out. We'll just see how he does. Everybody else is ready to go. Look for the challenge of playing the 49ers. Heck of a football team, obviously. Kyle does a great job with that group, and Steve Wilkes has been a head coach in the league, but is a really good defensive coordinator likewise. And then Brian Snyder is our special teams coordinator. He does a good job. And Chris Forster and I go all the way back to our college days. He's a ex-Colorado State offensive lineman, so old WAC conference, shout out to them. But he does a heck of a job with the offensive side. So again, with that, time's yours.
Andy, if memory serves, last year McCaffrey had just been traded to San Francisco, and the first game was against you guys. What impresses you about now the ways that they've been able to figure out how to use him in different ways compared to that first game when they were just kind of getting to know him?
Yeah, sure. Kyle's one of the most creative guys in the league. You knew he's going to find ways to maximize them, the different tools that he has. McCaffrey's got phenomenal tools. Can catch, block, run. I mean, he does it all. And Kyle's exploited even more than what it had been before. So,
Coach Reed, is there a comfortability factor playing at Allegiant Stadium that you're familiar with?
Well, I'd say yes, but we're on the home team side, so I don't know that side. But I mean, we've been there. I'm not sure that matters in this game. It's, it comes down to the execution part of it, but. And really, when you play in the Super Bowl, there's that constant buzz. That noise is constant offensively and defensively because of the crowd being split. So that's what you got to make sure that you handle. Yeah, so Brett Veach does the hard stuff. I mean, he gives them to me and asks me to reach out to the guys, but we knew him. Drew, we knew firsthand because of how good he was with the Chargers, and he's done all of that here. He's developed a great relationship and rapport with the linebackers in that room and with Steve and Brendan. And Flagel. So they've all worked on, and Drew had to want this to get him up to par just on the defense. And thank goodness, he's a real smart guy. So he put that Notre Dame education to use in learning this whole thing and did it quickly.
How impressive was he Sunday against the Ravens?
Yeah, sure, he did a great job. He can run. He was safety in college, so he can run now, and he's used to open field tackles and doing that, and I think that benefits him, and it did Sunday. Yeah.
Do you, anytime you're with free agents, do you send emails like telling them, hey, by the way, we go to Super Bowls pretty regularly? Is that a common occurrence, or is that specific to Drew?
No, I mean, each guy it's more a text than an email, so. Yeah.
Andy, you guys obviously a little bit different path this year, being an underdog a couple times. How have you seen the team sort of embrace that?
Yeah, so listen, we understand the reasoning behind it. I mean, we get it, and understandably so. So, I mean, we might not be the prettiest bunch, but we're going to battle, and that's kind of been the personality of this team. So, I don't think it doesn't bother us. We understand. So, it is what it is.
Andy, officiating after several of your games this season, you hate for it to get affected in the Super Bowl, obviously, but every year about this time we hear calls for maybe officials should be full-time employees, and that should be their focus in their own game. Where do you fall on that, and do you think it would make a difference in the quality of officiating?
Yeah, well, they've started to do that. There are a handful of guys that are full-time right now. we've got Bill for this game, Vinovich, who's season official and referee. So, and they mix the crews for the playoffs, and Bill does a great job of uniting everybody and getting them together. Listen, I know the league is doing what they can do on that phase, and they're gradually getting more guys that are doing it full time. So.
Coach, Brock Purdy, I know kind of first on the scene last year, continues to grow. He's had 2 comeback wins now in the playoffs. Coming from behind, one seems like a box that quarterbacks need to be able to check right when it's not all going your way, but then also doing it in the playoffs. Is that a sign that he's, not just good, but maybe moving up the ladder of where quarterbacks rank?
Yeah, listen, he's a heck of a player. I remember specifically one of the Saturday afternoons watching him in college, and I remember the head coach saying, "This guy has changed our program." So changing a program, that's something that's big, and that's what he is. I mean, he's doing that in the National Football. Yeah, listen, he's a heck of a player. I remember as much specifically one of the Saturday afternoons, he ran the ball well. He's a good football player. He's smart, got a great feel for things. Yeah.
Andy, you guys have been in the spotlight for a while and continue to be, and I know you're mostly in the bunker, especially now, but I seem to recall you getting recognized in Italy a few years ago. And I wonder if, elaborate on that a little bit, but is that also the most unusual place you've been recognized?
You don't expect that. I don't. And but there are a lot of Americans over there. You don't put that. And they were having a basketball tournament, so I walk out of the hotel the first day, and there's a whole youth basketball team, and so they knew, and then you're not hiding anymore. So that's.
They were yelling Mahomes, weren't they, or what were they?
Yeah, they love Pat. They know they knew all our guys. So, but obviously Pat's he's got the face of it. So.
Was that indeed the oddest or most unusual place that?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
When it comes to Marquez Valdes-Scantling, I think his regular season probably hoped he was a little more productive. What have you made of what he's been able to do in the postseason?
Yeah, so I'm proud of him because he played well for us last year. This year, he had a couple drops in big situations. Didn't hang his head, didn't lose confidence, kept battling, working with Pat, and he kept it going, figuring that it would turn around. And here he comes up with these last 2 games were huge catches, very similar to what he did last year in a couple of the games. And so I'm happy that for him, most of all, and that he was able to kind of recover, or whatever you want to say, from what was going on earlier.
Andy, what told you that he was going to come through on the other side, that if you stuck with him, he was going to?
Yeah, he's smart and he's a hard worker. So, and that's as long as you've got skill mixed in with that, then you have a chance. So, but he's going to work at it, and he understands that you can go into a slump. Sometimes that ball looks big, sometimes it looks small, and he worked through that. Did a good job with it.
Andy, to bounce off that, not just from Marquez, but just with anyone on the roster, just what's been the key to evaluating guys' mental fortitude to know that they're going to come in and be a hard worker and just gradually do the right things in this system?
Well, I've got good leadership, not only as coaches, but in the locker room. You're not going to, you're not going to dog it with Pat Mahomes going full speed, Kelsey going full speed. I mean, you're just not. They're not going to allow you to do that, first of all, and then you watch them and you watch how they practice, and you know it's not a fit if you can't do that. And then Brett's not going to bring in guys that that don't jog or whatever you want to call it.
Andy, you've been to the Super Bowl a bunch of times now, and a couple of organizations, 4 out of 5 years. Does it still feel as fresh? I mean, you certainly can't take opportunities like this for granted, right?
No, you respect the opportunity. I respect the opportunity of being a head football coach in the National Football League. I mean, Vahe and I started way back when we were both scrub buckets, man. So, I mean, to have the opportunity to do this is a real privilege. And, so every day I cherish it. And so this moment, yeah, you cherish it. It lasts the two teams standing. So, a very competitive business.
We'll go three more. Nate, start with you.
Andy, a couple weeks ago, Clyde shared with us his reasoning for wanting to go to medical school. Obviously, you went through it, obviously, before. Other guys, obviously, Ron comes to mind. Just what is it about what you learned about Clyde over this last year, sort of seeing him go from, being an NFL player to obviously trying to figure out what the next stage of his life will be?
Yeah, sure. Well, he grew up with a great mom who's an example to him for that. She's in the business, and so and then he's a smart kid. I mean, he gets it, and he's mature. So you figured he would. That's not the only thing he could do. I mean, you figure that he would find something that he wanted to do and go do it. You have confidence that that life after football is going to be okay for him. Yeah.
Given the fact that he's doing it now during the course of the season,
Yeah.
just what's impressive about that, given the fact that you guys are still relying on the product?
Yeah, sure. No, that's great. I encourage it. It hasn't affected his play or the time spent making sure that he's playing good, and so I would encourage that. I mean, I'm all in with him.
Last two, Niels and Blair.
Coach, what's to say about the guys in that room, that they stuck together and that they fought? You guys start 6-2 and have that rush back. What's to say about them that they were able to get it back on the field?
Yeah, it's a tribute to their strength as a group, welcoming in new guys with high expectations and still making it work. Not pushing anybody out the door because maybe it started a little slow, and or even that they started slow, they didn't hang their head and kept pushing forward. So that develops. I always sit there on that first day of a training camp and tell you every year is different. Every team's different. Well, this one's different than any of the other ones, right? So, and they've grown together, which is neat to watch.
Last one, Blair.
Follow up on Vahe's question about recognition. Appearing in the commercials, changed that for you at all? Do you find people outside of football recognizing you more because of the appearances on State Farm and others?
Yeah, probably. I'd probably say yes. Yeah, when I get out there, so I'm not out much, but I'd say yes. I mean, that's yeah. I'd say I don't want to stand up here and sound like a movie star because I'm I'm not very good at that, but I appreciate people enjoying nuggies.
Do you have a SAG card?
A what?
A SAG card?
No, I don't think I do. No.
All right, thanks.
All right, guys. All right, thanks.
Patrick, the Christmas Day game, it was hard to see then that you guys would still be playing now. What were the things you saw then that led you to believe that maybe this was still possible back then?
I think I saw more from within the building, just how hard guys were working, how guys were taking it personal when we were losing games and going through that stretch. You kind of know how they react after games if you're going to be in this spot or if you're going to have a chance to be in this spot. And guys weren't happy, and they were putting in the work to get better, and that's what you need in order, whenever you go through adverse times, is guys to continue to work and to continue to get better.
Are there specific stories you can?
I mean, if you watch the receivers every single day, I mean, they're catching on the side when the defense is up. They're catching after practice, catching before practice. I remember I was walking to lunch one day, and Sky's out there just catching by himself. I mean, that's just those guys have that mindset of they're going to continue to get better, and that's been out throughout the whole entire team. We're not wasting any moments in practice. Guys are working on the side. We're trying to get better, and we're not going to let that slide this week either. We're going to try to do the same thing going into the Super Bowl.
Patrick, that Justin Tucker thing before the game, how did that impact you?
Not really at all. I think guys were just ready to play regardless. So we just kind of kept it going and kept it moving.
That had happened with him before, right?
We not to that extent, but we have had that same issue. So we just got to figure out how his warm-up routine and my warm-up routine don't interact.
What were you going to do with the 15-yard penalty? You devise a plan when you guys were going to get out there?
Say that one more time. I lost.
Mr. Travis said you were going to be out on the field and he missed that kick. You know what you were going to do?
Yeah, I was going to chase Travis and just get him back to the sideline. So that would probably been the best decision.
Patrick, asked Andy about this, but just being an underdog this postseason, it seems like there's been a particular enjoyment in the locker room. Is that your perspective of it, and how so?
I think for some guys, for sure. We just haven't had that aspect, so it kind of lit a fire, I think, under some guys, including myself. But at the end of the day, it's playoff games. You want to win. This is what you kind of play for, and I think that fire would have been, regardless if we were underdog or not, that fire would have been lit because this is the time of year that you work for and you put in those hard practices for. And I think we have that mindset. If we're going to practice the way we do and we're going to work the way we work, we're not going to let it slide by, and we're going to make sure that we maximize our opportunity every time we're out there.
Having the defense that you have, you mentioned having to adjust your mentality. 17-10 games have been a little bit more rare in previous years. How have you had to temper maybe your aggressive mentality when maybe other years you may be a little bit more apt to go down?
Yeah, it's a mixture of everything. I always want to be aggressive. I always want to take chances. But just knowing when to do that, when is the best opportunity. And you saw us a couple in the second half where I let it go downfield. We just didn't hit on them. I think we just got to execute at a higher level in the second half after watching the film. There were still some chances there, but when you don't execute versus a great defense, drives stall out, and that'll be very similar to this next game we're playing. That's a great defense that we're going up against, and then we're going to have to be really high execution, kind of like we were in the first half, but negative plays will stall drives out, and they're a defense that will, once those drives, you have negative plays, those drives won't end with points.
Patrick, you said you when to go downfield, when to do that. You seem to have an amazing ability to know the game situation. Not just whether or not to take a shot, but late in the fourth quarter, you're taking sacks instead of throwing it away. Keep the clock going. Is that something that on the sideline or the huddle you're constantly talking about? Are you thinking it through, or does it just come as second nature?
I think it's we have these meetings. Travis hates them. Where we have these meetings where we go over every single situation every single week, and we just go through them. They're long, repetitive meetings, but we actually show film from games in previous years or previous weeks, and they talk through the different stuff. And it gets repetitive, but I listen and I ask questions, and I try to figure out every single situation for every single game. And you saw in the Super Bowl this last year, we were having that drive, and you want to score points, but as the clock started running down, that last drive of the game, you start letting the clock run a little bit more and try to see if we can end with the football. And it comes from those meetings, and even though guys are in there and it's like an extra meeting that takes like an hour on a Friday or Saturday, whatever it is, those little things are what kind of gets you to this spot. And so that's why I enjoy it, and I know the guys do, even though they get a little bored and tired in them.
Patrick, Kelsey seemed to be particularly pumped up last week, during the week, and before the game, after the game. Just in general, what does his energy do? What does it bring to you and also maybe the rest of the guys?
Yeah, I think it brings a ton. It's the energy, and people don't even see it at practice. The energy that he has, he wants to take every single rep. We have to get him out of practice just to give him a rest, and he wants to be out there for every single play. And I think that mindset, when you see the Hall of Fame tight end and he wants to be the guy working the hardest, it raises everybody's standard. It raises the standard of how you practice. It raises the standards of how you prepare, because that guy that's done at the top level wants to continue to do it every single week, every single day. And at the same time, he has a great time doing it. And I think that shows that you can work extremely hard and still have fun coming to work every single day.
Patrick, obviously you've been successful in domes throughout your career, playing in Legion. You have lost home of the Raiders. How come you're so comfortable in the dome, and you're the home team this time at their place?
I don't know. I just like playing football, so it doesn't matter if it's minus 30 or if we're indoors. I'm just going to go out there and try to play the best I can, and I'm sure quarterbacks will tell you that it's easier to throw the football when it's in perfect conditions, so that's probably why. But for me, it's just going out there and competing.
Patrick, you know Matt as a rookie, and then he left and came back. I wonder if there's any difference in him having been a head coach that you can notice. Andy talked about how he's more decisive now, having been a head coach.
Yeah, you learn. I think you learn the good and the bad. and he's been around, I think, other coaches as well, so he has different ideas that he brings. And you can see that last year, and you can see that this year. And like you said, I mean, I think he just knows what he wants now. He knows what situations, like, let's have a play ready. And like at the end of the game this last week, he makes me do a little sheet where I pick kind of plays for certain situations, and that was on the sheet. He went right to it, picked that play, gave it to me. We were comfortable. We went out there and executed the play. And so it's just stuff like that. I mean, when you go out there, and I mean, he had success as a coach, and then he had some times where he didn't have as much success, and he learned from those times. And he's came back, and he's been a better coach, I think, because of that. And so that's what you have to do in this league, and coaching, playing, whatever it is you learn from your successes, and you learn from stuff that you don't do as well, and you try to be better the next opportunity you get.
Patrick, what's the value of this week in terms of preparation before all the craziness of next week?
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty locked in both weeks, but you're really locked in this week. You want to make sure you get the whole game plan in, you get all your questions asked and answered. So next week when you're reviewing, you can just go on the fine details that you might not have the chance to do in a regular game week. And so I'll have that mindset all through practice. I'll make sure the guys have the same mindset.
Patrick, Bobby showed some of your workouts that you do that kind of helped you prevent injury with the Matabuke when he came out your legs. Just what does that say about your preparation? And when some folks see quarterbacks or whoever doing like some weird workouts in the offseason, that it actually pays off.
So I think he showed that for everybody, but that was really directed towards me because I hate doing all that stuff. And every time he does it, I'm like, why am I doing this stretch right now and everything like that? And then he gets an opportunity like that where he shows me, he's like, see, this is why we do it. So now that'll be a staple in every workout I do. But yeah, no, I mean, we try to prepare for everything. And he's done a great job of adapting and learning from stuff that I've done in my career and preparing me for those moments to try to keep myself healthy as I possibly can. Because I always said the best ability is availability, and you want to be out there. And lucky enough for us, so far, knock on wood, we've been able to have a lot of healthy guys out there, and we want to play our best football in the Super Bowl, and that's what we're going to try to do.
Those moments happen often for him and you.
Yeah, I mean, he always gets me doing stuff that I don't want to do, and I know he wants the best for me, so I'll do it. But there's definitely some times where I'm like, man, we're on 2 hours of working out. Like let me go upstairs and just hang out. And so it's he pushes me every single day.
I have two quick questions. You talked about Kelsey and how he wants to be practicing every rep. Was it times this season because of the knee, because of the ankle, that he struggled to actually do that to stay in rhythm? And was there a key difference when he got the week 18 rest?
Yeah, no, definitely there was times throughout the season where we had to take him out. I mean, he didn't want to, but we had to get him out to let his body heal. And it wasn't like his mind wasn't there, but you could just see his body. It wasn't moving the way that it always moves. And I think, like you said, just having that rest, and I think just having more time from when the original injuries kind of happened, you could see now his body was getting back, and we felt really good going in, even to that Cincy game, and kind of after that, and then going into the last week and getting that rest and coming into playoffs, you could tell his body was getting back to the true Travis Kelce, and so it was definitely good for him, and hopefully we can keep that thing rolling, not just this game, but in the future years as well.
And the second thing I wanted to remind you is that you said that going back to back, you knew it was going to be hard based on the previous experience. Training camp began for you on July 18th. Technically the longest season you've ever had in your career. Just what about trying to go back to back last year and knowing that this was going to be a long season sort of guided you or helped you maybe in terms of leadership guide the guys along a much longer journey than normal?
Yeah, I mean, they've been such different seasons. I think that's been the biggest thing. The last time we tried to go back to back, we won I think we were 14-1 going into the last week, got the rest, lost that game, and then kind of rolled through the playoffs. And it's never easy, but I mean, we played well, and it was kind of like, oh, we're just gonna do it again. We're gonna do it. We're gonna go out there and play again, and we got our butt kicked. And so this year, it's been completely opposite. It's been a struggle throughout the season, and we've had to continue to get better and better. And that's what I've always preached. But I think some of the losses kind of forced us to we have to continue to get better. And I think now it's just not being satisfied with getting there. I mean, this is a great football team that we're going up against. It's going to take our best football, kind of like it's taken the last 3 weeks that we've played. And so we have to do whatever we can to prepare ourselves this week of practice and next week of practice to be ready to go. And I know it's Vegas, and it's a lot of fun, but for us, it's a business trip in the true sense, and we're going there to play a football game and try to find our way to win it. And I think that has to be the mindset starting today.
So we'll go last through with Todd, Sam, and then Todd. Go Todd. Patrick, you love to practice. You love to play in the game, inside, outside, whatever. You've been to this game more often than not in your career. I wonder if you could take me back couple of years ago when you guys lost the AFC title game. What was this couple of weeks like for you as someone else was preparing for the Super Bowl? How down were you, and how much did that motivate you to not have that again?
Yeah, no, it's tough. Luckily enough, I've been able to go to the Pro Bowl, but I mean, even going to the Pro Bowl and just sitting there, and you're sitting there and you're like, man, I could be preparing for the Super Bowl, and you take it as an honor, but you're just sitting there and it's tough, and it's hard to watch the game. And I know, like, my buddies, I know the last time we went in it, my buddies had like a Super Bowl party, and they wanted everybody to come over, and I was just like, nah, I'm barely going to even be able to watch it. And so I watched it at home just with me and Brittany, and I kind of had it on, and I would kind of walk off and walk back just because I'm a fan of football. But it's tough, and to get that close and not get in the game, and I know it's tougher to get in the game and lose it. So I'll try to keep away from that as well. And so those negative moments are kind of what stick with you the rest of your career.
Patrick, a few years ago at the Super Bowl, you mentioned that your preparation was OCD-like. I'm just wondering if you could take me through, like, in the moment, whether it's game planning or preparing for specific defenses, how you do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like that every week. I don't want to go through the whole entire thing, but I have a set amount of games that I watch first, take notes on, and then throughout the week, I watch either a game or two a day, and then I watch every game plan, a scouting cut-up we have, third down, red zone, 2-minute, 4-minute, kind of on those certain days throughout the week. I write all the notes of all the game plan. I go through the install stuff. And it's pretty much the same every single week, and I know what I need to get done that day, and then I do that. And having this extra week, I'll have it all done before we even leave for Vegas, but then I'll go back during the week of Vegas and just go through those same things, reread everything, and make sure that I'm in that same mindset I'm always in.
So when you say reread, it's the own notes that you're taking?
Yeah, so there's notes that the coaches give us, and I write them down. I'm big writing it down. It like, helps me remember it. So I'll write it down, and then I'll rewrite everything again, and then this week I'll probably rewrite it one more time while I'm in Vegas. And that stuff sticks in my head like that, and that's something I've done my entire career.
Patrick, one question and a quick follow-up. When you were in Germany, did you ever actually encounter any ads featuring yourself in them, whether it was
I saw some, but I never left the hotel, so I didn't get to see them in person, but I saw pictures of them.
And with that, I do wonder if you have any sense of being a global figure. I mean, from what the attention on the Super Bowl, from all you guys have achieved, in what ways you might feel that?
I think you feel it a little bit. I mean, I think the commercials probably help out a lot, but and the run that we've been on. But I think until I actually go around the world and see that different type of stuff, I don't think I'll realize it enough of the impact that we've had. But I do pretty good in Texas and Kansas City. I know that.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks.
Drew, obviously, this is your first Super Bowl. This is why you wanted to come play for the Chiefs. From what you posted, Coach Reed had been texting you. It's all kind of come true. Can you just kind of encapsulate what this has been like for you down the stretch here?
It's been a whirlwind. You dream of this as a kid. You want to play in this game. This is the pinnacle of the football world, the biggest game and the biggest league in the world. And so to look back on that text from Coach Reed, it's something to laugh about, but it's crazy. It's been a long 8 months, or I guess 10 months since that moment, but we've put a lot of hard work in, and we're super excited for this opportunity.
How much of a deeper appreciation do you think you personally might have for being here, just considering you were in the division against them for so many years?
Yeah, it's incredible what this organization's been able to do when you talk about stacking years on top of one another. We felt it early in the season. Like, when you're the defending champs, like, you're getting everyone's best every single week. I know when we played the Chiefs, when I was at the Chargers, it was like we were ready for that game, and you circle that game, and you want that game. And to see what Coach Reed and Brett Veach, you talk about our ownership, Clark Hunt, everybody in those decision-making roles, and our coaching staff and the players, to be able to do it year after year after year, it's tough. It's really, really hard. And to be a part of that this year is an experience and something I'll never forget.
Drew, just noticed about the way this organization responds.
Can you repeat that?
What have you noticed just about the way the organization responds to losing a game?
Yeah, I mean, winning is the goal in this organization. When you lose, there's a very specific way we go about winning and losing, and it's the same week in and week out. It doesn't matter if it's the preseason, the regular season, or the postseason. The methods for how we deal with and correct and make corrections is really sound here, and they've got tested methods that have worked. And I think that's one of the biggest things I take away is, you look at the postseason and all the excitement and hype that comes with that. Like, as a player, it hasn't felt any different for me from the regular season. I think our coaching staff has done such a good job of keeping our routines, our practice habits, our meetings the exact same. And so preparation, just you kind of stay in your flow. And so they've done a good job, whether we win or lose in that regard.
Drew, Travis Kelce seemed particularly pumped up last week.
Yeah.
Before the game afterwards. I know you're not on the field at the same time. What does his energy do for you when you see him that way?
Well, I think you have to have tremendous leaders, especially at the player level, to win in this league, and that's anywhere. That's business, that's sports. And so Coach Reed kept trying to talk to our team, whether it was before the game or halftime, and Travis would just cut him off with a big yell, and he'd say, "Yeah, that sounds about right. Let's go." And he does that for our team, and we're very thankful to have him.
You learned anything about him after a few months now as a teammate that maybe you didn't know from playing against him?
When the tough gets going, he's ready. In the wise words of Marshawn Lynch, he's about that action, and he brings it each and every week and turns it on, especially when the lights are bright.
Is he pretty irritating to play against?
He's just hard to play against. He's super challenging. He's unconventional in what he does. His body movements, the way he's able to get open, whether it's man or zone. He just presents a lot of challenges. He's big, got a big catch radius, and so it makes defending him very challenging, both as a player and probably as a coordinator as well.
Speaking of guys who are challenging, what impresses you about the ways that they deploy Christian McCaffrey?
Yeah.
Using the slot as well as the run game, everything they do.
Yeah, Christian's as dynamic of a back as there is in the National Football League. People would say he's not the biggest, but he runs with incredible power. It's very evident if you throw on the tape. He's running guys over. His stiff arm is vicious. He's a weapon in the passing game. He can run the route tree. He's elusive in space. Like I mentioned, powerful at the point of contact. And so he's going to be a big challenge for us to stop.
Did you know much about Charles Minihue and Mike Edwards?
I didn't know much about him at all prior to coming here, and I've really enjoyed being teammates with him.
With that, what's it like when you have three guys who are obviously talented in their own right, they're trying to make the championship defense better?
I think it speaks to this organization and the quest that they're on, bringing in good players, whether it's through the draft or free agency. And Brett Veach is one of the best at doing that. And, Charles, Mike, and myself, and all of our other free agent acquisitions and guys like Mike Pinnell, who we've brought on, mid-season and, drafted guys. I think everybody's kind of bought in to the championship culture here and what Coach Reed sets forth and what they preach on a week-to-week basis. But, you just try to come in and develop a role for yourself and do the best you can. And at the end of the day, everything's about winning. And they emphasize that week after week, meeting after meeting. And so whether your role is big or small or medium, you feel valuable and important when you're here.
If I could, I know you're focusing on the 49ers, but
yeah.
It was a flight over the next day. Did you watch the play of Lamar catching his own pass and the fact that he had what appeared to be a lot of open grass?
Yeah.
What was your experience, I guess, rewatching that play?
Yeah, it was such a strange play. And watching it on tape, you go back in your head, to being on the field. And I just remember coming on the blitz. We had a zero pressure called, and Justin's free off the edge. And you hear a loud thud, and that typically means the ball is somewhere bad in the air. And so you're looking for it, and then all of a sudden I just see a flash of purple go by my left eye, and I see Justin running too. I'm like, what is happening right now? And my wife last night, she's like, why were you jogging at first? I'm like, because I didn't know where the ball was or what was going on. She's like, shouldn't you be running full speed? And I'm like, yeah, probably, but I had to find the ball. I didn't know what was going on. And I finally see Lamar catch it, and I'm like, man, I got to get this guy down. And so I just tried to accelerate and got him. Man, he's such a good player.
Drew, just, there's a lot of talk about, the Chiefs being underdogs this season, but, kind of you as well, taking that villain role, you kind of have a squeaky clean image, but with Buffalo and then kind of some that football aggression kind of comes out of you. Has that always been in you, or is that just something that kind of just rose out of you late in the season?
Yeah, I have when I train back home with my trainer Scott Prohaska, we talk about like an alter ego, and I feel like you have to have that a little bit. Like, I feel like I'm a family man. Like first, like obviously I got married to my high school sweetheart, and we have 3 kids. And there's a little bit more of a gentle spirit that you have to take on when you're in the house, but that spirit doesn't work when you're between the white lines. And so we say, I'm Clark Kent, but I got to play like Superman. And so when it's between the white lines, and certainly in the moments after the game, you're kind of in that headspace where you're looking to dominate the guy across from you. And it's fun bantering back and forth with the fans and getting everybody excited. I mean, it's football. It's one of the greatest sports, the greatest sport in the world, and just trying to have fun with it.
Does your family see that and kind of be like, whoa, we didn't like this kind of surprise us, or have they seen this just kind of throughout your whole career?
Yeah, they'll ask me. I'll get in the family group chat after the game, and they'll be like, what were you saying to that guy? It looks like you're trash talk. You really trash talk? And I'm like, well, I try to. I don't know how good I am at it, but yeah.
Speaking of family, like you had your family out there after the game. Just walk us through that.
Yeah, it was awesome. My wife Jackie, my son Elijah, our oldest, and then my brother-in-law Henry, we're all there, and it was a really cool moment to be able to be on the field. And my son brought his Chiefs ball in there. We were able to throw that around a little bit, but those are the moments you think of and dream of, and they're always better than you could ever dream of.
Just kind of go back to PJ's question where you're talking about having that alter ego. Is that a little bit of an identity for this defense? Because I think we see that from Justin Reed. We see that from Trent McDuffie. We see that from L'Jarius Sneed, some of those guys too, where they're pretty gentle, even in L'Jarius' case, fairly quiet off the field, but got some dog in them once they get between those lines.
Yeah, we just want to be a ton of dogs out there. Lamar said, I think a few times this year, we just want to play ball, and I think that's when this defense, when it comes down to it, we just want to play ball. We want to get after it. We really believe in our leader, Spags, and the coaches that he has in place. And there's sometimes in football, whether it's been high school, college, or professional level, where you're just not sure about a game plan. That has not happened this year one time. When we go into a game, we're this is going to work, and we just have to execute. And it's exciting to go out there. We got a really good group of guys.
I know here the reputation's always been kind of offensive, but when you have a Patrick Mahomes and even your last stop with Justin Herbert, that can take a lot of the oxygen in the room. The defense has really emerged this year. I'm curious, did you feel a moment where you guys were the story in this last game? Did you feel a moment where that confidence was there, and does it build on itself as you go? And you start to realize how good you guys are as a unit?
Yeah, I think a big moment for us this season was our Germany game versus Miami. I mean, Miami they put up 70 or 73 points on the Broncos. They were the number 1 offense in the NFL by a mile. And you look what we did in that first half, shutting them out. They had a couple big plays in the second half. But I think, we knew we had something special, and to go out there and get that done on an unconventional week in Germany where your sleep schedule's off, we knew we had some dogs, and we knew we could do something special. And we talk about it all the time. Spags talks about it. It's you can't look in the rearview mirror. What we did to Baltimore last week does not matter if we don't show up next Sunday or 2 Sundays from now versus the 49ers, who are a terrific offense led by Kyle Shanahan. So it's another opportunity, man, and we're certainly looking forward to it.
I'm sure everybody wants the easy way through the postseason. That's why you play the regular season, try to get the number 1 seed. But you guys will play the hardest possible road for a number 3 seed. Is there an appreciation for taking the rocky road and having to face a 6 seed that could have been a 2 and a 2 seed and a 1 seed and a 1 seed?
Yeah, my son and my daughter, they go to preschool, and they had a little parade we have a couple players that have kids that go there, and we were talking to the kids yesterday at the parade, and just thinking back on the postseason run we've had so far. It's we beat Miami. Everybody was kind of counting us out there, thought Miami would come in and get the job done. Buffalo, certainly the story. They thought us going on the road wasn't going to happen, and then, nobody gave us a chance against the Ravens. Ravens were playing great ball. We have an unbelievable test in front of us against the 49ers. But I think when you play good football teams and you come out on top and you're able to kind of build some momentum, it calluses you a little bit. It's going to be a tough, hard fight. Any good game against 2 opponents is. And I think, we're building up that callus to go win this thing. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Nick, you've been around here a long time. Travis Kelce, big offensive star, big offensive numbers, but this year you guys are putting up amazing numbers on the defensive side of the ball. Is there a point during the season where you felt, it all came together and where it's, you guys can carry this team when necessary?
Yeah, I think in training camp I mentioned I have an opportunity to be a top 10 defense, and that's our floor. I kind of meant that. I kind of knew that in training camp. I could tell by the guys of how we were able to recall from last year, add new guys to the system, then how fast we were able to pick up stuff. Chamari is one of those guys that didn't really get that many reps until the back half of the season, but he's one of those guys that came in, handled him 2 or 3 different positions. He's able to go out there and execute the game plan. Drew came in, played a little bit of everything for us as well, and they already had the core guys that played last year. So I think the experience kind of building what we left off of last year, everybody this year older, a little bit more comfortable playing around each other, and so I kind of feel like that kind of helped us trajectory to where we are now.
Nick, when you had surgery on your wrist, was there any fear that you wouldn't be able to make it to this point if the team got this far?
No. I have faith in what our trainers and our head trainer, Rick, and my surgeon is going to get me back on the field as quick as possible. I was kind of upset a little bit because I wanted to go out there. Our defense was playing good football. I didn't want our defense to slip down a little bit, but Drew came in, did a hell of a job, man, and those guys rallied around him. He was able to be our mic, get our checks out, get guys lined up, and able to get guys playing fast, and he brought physicality. Willie came in, did his thing. Jack Cash had to get some snaps as well. Leo played extended snaps. So all those guys, man, they kept my spirits up while I was out, helped me get back as quick as I could.
No Charles Menahue. What's his loss going to mean, and how do you absorb that?
Yeah, man, it's huge. We missed him early in the season. He came back, he was able to produce for us. He's one of those guys, man, that you hate to see him go down. He's worked hard for this moment. And got a chance to play against his old team on that venue and that stage, man. So you feel for him for sure. But yeah, he's gonna be one of those guys in the facility. Man's gonna make sure he keeps the energy around. We talked to him all last week and early in the week. I actually talked to him yesterday, man. Just talking about we need your spirits around the facility still. We're gonna need your energy. We're gonna need your positivity. We're just kind of lean on him a little bit, and he's gonna lean on us while he goes through this process.
What is his spirit? What is that positivity that he brings?
Yeah, man, I think it's just being goofy, man, when we need to be goofy, man. And again, it's like Willie and Chris and like all those guys, man. They let football be fun. You don't really want to get too caught up in just at the big venue, the big stage, the big lights. You kind of want to still have fun. So let your personality show, be yourself. And so he makes sure he brings that to the football team.
Nick, Spags has mentioned a couple times that you and some of the other guys like the challenge. You like to be challenged, right? So when you look at the personnel they have over there, George Kittle, Chris McCaffrey, Debo, and there's some unique ways that Kyle Shanahan deploys them. Does a game like this get you more excited since you know that the complexity of everything, the chess moves that we playing, is that at like an elite level?
Yeah, I think especially playing my position, you kind of like the mental challenge. Going out there trying to put your best foot forward. But I think when it turns to just getting this game, it's Super Bowl, so you really can't get much more excitement than that. You got a chance to do something that few teams has ever done in history. I kind of think that's the excitement part about it. The challenge part is going out there and executing against their playmakers, man. They're talented on offense. The O-line is great. Quarterbacks playing astounding football, and the running back, well, I know he's all world. So we've got to find a way to limit their explosive plays. We've got to tackle well, and we've got to see if we can force a couple turnovers as well.
Speaking of McCaffrey, in the season he's had, you guys faced him his first game with San Francisco. What do you remember about that, and what impresses you about the way he's evolved in that offense?
Yeah, I think it's a whole different animal than we played last time. I think he's only had 2 days of practice, I believe, before he played the last game we played against him. And so I know he's a lot more comfortable in what they're doing. They know how to utilize him a little bit better, and they're able to disperse the ball around the other guys. Just aren't trying to get him involved early. So it's going to take all of us. It's going to be all 11. It's going to be a long, gritty game. We're excited for it.
Nick, I know that you're focused on what's ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Reaching the Super Bowl, does it prompt you to look back on the play from last year's Super Bowl?
Yeah, I think unsung heroes kind of show up in every game. I think Dion was one of those guys last week. It came down with a huge turnover in the red zone when we needed it the most. And then other guys, Sneed has been doing it all year. He was able to create one. Justin Reed almost had him one, and Lamar came and grabbed that one from him. And then Charles, new to the team, was able to get a sack. So everything was huge.
I also just wanted to ask about what's Patrick like after a loss? Obviously, you guys lost more games in the regular season than you had the past couple.
Yeah.
What's he like after a loss?
Yeah, I think as any competitor, man, they're upset after losses, man. They want to go out and win. I think he gets real upset, especially whenever he doesn't play the football I think he should play. I think guys rally around him and stuff like that. He's not one of those guys that point fingers. He's one of those guys that kind of embraces the challenge of trying to get it right. I think I mentioned earlier last week, it's not about who gets it right. I mean, who's right. It's about getting it right. And so he's one of those guys for sure that's trying to find an answer and just trying to find the best way to put the best foot forward and help us win.
Nick, can you talk about Brock Purdy?
Yeah. Brock Purdy's one of those guys that, again, everybody can say where he's drafted, call him a game manager, all that type of stuff, man. He's going out there, he's producing and find a way to win. In this league, you kind of get judged by wins and losses, not for everything else. And he has his team playing in the biggest game in the world. And so we've got to give him that respect. He's earned it. We got to go out there and execute the game plan.
Thank you, everybody.
Yep, thank you. Yep.
Yes, sir. I believe.
I didn't know that worked. It just occurred to me. I was like, good session. All over the place.
Good session.
Where are you going?